Alrighty, guys, welcome back, League of Inches, and another video, another week of footy. And um, start off weapon of the week. Obviously, pretty big week for the League of Inches boys. We've got all our teams versus each other, which first time that's happened that I can remember us doing the channel. So a lot of banter. No doubt will be swung in the chat. It's already kind of started as of today. So it's been pretty lit and it's going to get bigger and better from here. Obviously, first game Friday night, Para versus the Roosters. So Dane is back as well. Everyone welcome him back. He's been off partying the last few weeks after some good results. Look, he has been struck down with injury, similar to his club. No doubt something's going on with him. He's a Roosters fan with that jersey on. So Dane, how are you? I know you had a footy comp on over the weekend. So what injury did you happen to find out you've had this time?
Just a fractured toe, just something light, but I'll just battle on, like I'm tough, just like the Roosters. We'll battle on. We'll still be there at the end.
No doubt. Trent Robinson probably got you in and got you a couple of sessions a week with the physio.
Yeah, I'm about 99th drop for halfback or 5'8" for the Roosters. So probably won't get a call up.
Oh, well, we've got a big game this week. Obviously, Para versus the Roosters. We'll talk about it, the tips a bit later on, but you're feeling confident?
No, I'm not feeling confident. I think it's going to be a pretty close game. And, I'm supposed to be coming to your place this time to watch it. Last time you came here, they got rolled and you're left with your tail between your legs. So I just hope that's not going to be me if I come to your place.
I couldn't have left quicker that time. That was a G-up. So, Jace, you obviously don't have to deal with Sid in this video. He's off sick at the moment, guys. I think it's more so because the Dragons keep losing. He doesn't want to show his face at the moment. He sort of was very confident after a few weeks and then sort of gone downhill a little bit. But you got the Dragons versus the Dogs this week. I'm pretty sure it's a Sunday game. So been a pretty good clash between you two over the years and feeling confident ahead of this one?
Yeah, I am feeling confident, mate. We've probably caught the Dragons at a good time while they're on this bit of a slide. So I think it'll be a good game for the Dogs to, even though the Dragons are on this slide, they are still a decent team. If they manage to throw it together, they could come away with a win, but hopefully they can't. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously Sid's not here. Last week we did talk a bit about the Dragons, but what's your take on the Dragons at the moment? They started so well. We know the old joke that they're April premiers and March premiers, but where do you see them at the moment as a club? I've obviously watched a few of their games. They've been pretty poor, but where are you seeing them?
Well, I really, honestly, I can't. I don't understand why they've gone this way. Like, I know people have been giving Billy Burns a bit of crap, but he's a pretty good player, pretty decent player from what I'd seen him at Penrith. Like, he's not really a Mr. Fix-It. He's more of a Band-Aid type guy where he'll do the job for you, but he won't do anything special. But I think for him personally, I think he's just a new team. He's come from a team where they're just so used to winning consistently, and they do that so well. Coming into this new side, none of his mates that he's played with, new club, new culture, everything. So he's just adjusting to it. But give him some time. He is a pretty decent player. But other than that, mate, speaking for the rest of the team, I really don't know how they fell so far so quickly.
Yeah, well, they beat Para and everyone had him in the top four. So and all of a sudden they've gone they'll probably make the bottom four at this rate. It's a weird one because you can't really blame it on a fringe first grader in Billy Burns. I read a few things and I have some spare moments each week, which is very rare at the moment, pretty busy schedule. But I've heard rumours at the moment about Maguire, and apparently some of the Dragons players aren't too happy that he's there and in the squad. So there's a bit of commotion in that squad. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll post something on the page if we hear any more and it comes to be official. But the Dragons are an interesting one. Look, had a few fan questions come through as well today. First one, just
some good ones I saw on the page there, mate. Some real good ones. I hope
the page was going off today. A lot of guys just having a bit of a piss take, but it's all well and good. But we'll try and do some serious ones. So I didn't put down any of those ones. I'll reply to those on on the Facebook page. But Dave Johnson, big fan. Obviously, my dad wanted to know about. We've got a young guy, Penasini. All the Para fans that watch this, I'll answer this one. He wants to know if he's going to have a run soon. Now he's a centre. He's actually got a really good future. He's a very good player, but I don't know if he will yet. They might wait till around Origin, where teams are a bit weaker around that centre position and wing, where at the moment we're versing some teams with some pretty strong outside backs. So they might wait until around that sort of period to then give him maybe a game or two and maybe come off the bench and do a last 20, 30-minute cameo. So interesting to see there. Another fan messaged into us. We had a little bit of a chat about him last week, but do we see Penrith making the grand final? Dane, I'll go to you first. Do you have them as grand final when it counts?
Yeah, look, based on how they've been playing, I really think that they should be there. They're a very, very strong outfit. They're young, they're fit, they're hungry. They want to do more based on where they got to last year. So, look, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be.
Yeah, 100%. Jason?
Yeah, look, I read in the papers the other day, a reporter said, and I agree with him 100%, with the way Penrith are playing at the moment and this streak that they're on, anything less than a premiership win would be a complete fail of the season for them, the way they're going at the moment, mate. Like, it's you can't see anyone beating them anytime soon, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're an interesting one because if it's just as any other club and they weren't on the win streak they're on, you'd probably look at their age and stuff and you'd go, yeah, they're in a building block at the moment. They'll probably win the comp in probably the next 2 to 3 years, but it's that building phase. But the way they're playing and the way that they're undefeated and the win streak they're on, they basically just have to win it this year to consolidate what they've been doing in my eyes. I think they're a grand final certainly now. I didn't have them at the start of the year, but I've got them now making way for probably the Raiders, who I had up there at the time, but I can't see them doing too much at the moment. They're in a bit of problems, which we'll get to in later down the track. Another fan has asked us about what's our favourite part of Indigenous round. Obviously, that's coming up shortly. Jace, I'll go to you this one first. What's your favourite thing about this round?
Mate, I just honestly, I love seeing the jerseys that they come up with, like some of the designs that they use from some of the Indigenous artists. Like amazing designs on their jerseys, and I really like seeing what new jerseys teams have come up with. Yeah,
there's some really good ones. I think I've seen the Dogs one the other day. That was floating around on social media, and that looks really good. So there's a few really good ones coming out. Dane, what do you like about the round?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I really like the designs that you see on the jerseys, but also to see them really sort of pump up to play for each other, to play for their culture. I think that's something that really stands out. Like, they really look like they want to be there, and they're so proud to play for their cultures. And yeah, I just think it's a really cool event.
Yeah, it's a round where you don't want to be versing the Bunnies, because their boys really get behind the week and the concept, and they're basically guaranteed a 13-plus victory on that weekend. I really like, as you said, the jerseys. I also like the fact that, not to make this video too political, but I like the fact that it is a time where we do get to pay our respects to, obviously, the Aboriginal community. I love personally the New Zealand national anthem, how it has that Maori side of it, and then the Kiwi or the English version of the anthem as well. I'd really love to maybe see that down the track with us, but I just love that sort of thing. All the shows and that they do the war dancing before each game. I love it. So let's get, we've got one more actually. Last one would be Rookie of the Year. Now, there's a few good contenders this year. It's going to be a really tight one. It's hard to lock one in. I'm going to ask us both to lock them in. Dane, who's your Rookie of the Year, and does he wear the same jersey as what you got on?
Yeah, you're pretty predictable there, Joel. I'd have to go with Sam Walker. I think he started really good. If he stays away from injury, keeps performing the way he's performing, I think he should almost win it hands down. He has really stepped up, and he's still got a long way to go, but he's shown that he's all class, he's mature, he can lead the team around the park, and he's just got something special about him. He's got that X factor.
I couldn't agree more with you with that one, Jason.
Yeah, no, I agree as well. A couple of weeks ago when we asked that question with who's impressed us, I said Sam Walker, and mate, every week he just keeps impressing me even more. Like with his nature on the field, how is it's almost like he's an old head. He just knows what to do on the field, when to do it, and how to lead his team around. So if he doesn't get it, mate, I really don't see who's even a close second.
Yeah, it's one of those years. It's actually unfortunate if you're someone like the type Dan Laurie, or if you're Schuster, both really good young players, and any other year would probably be shoo-ins to get the award. But Sam Walker's an absolute freak in my eyes. Look, I don't love to give Roosters raps, but you've got to, with these sorts of players, when they come through, he's one of a kind, one of a generation sort of player. And the best thing I think about him is he had so many raps before he even touched the ball at first grade level, yet we've seen players not live up to that hype. He's lived up to the hype plus more. He's just, as you touched on, Jace, his game management is what's really impressed me. Yep, he's a good runner of the footy and a good passer, but his game management, which we've missed, or we've probably lacked with halfbacks in recent time, he's really got that down pat. And it's sort of like you put Andrew Johns' mind into his brain already, and that's sort of how he's playing.
One thing I really like about his game is the fact that he plays eyes up footy. He plays what he sees. Like the other night when you saw Kalen Ponga in the line, he put the kick through for Josh Morris. Like a lot of halfbacks nowadays wouldn't even bother doing it. They just play it safe, play through the hands, set up for the next play. But he saw that Ponga was up in the line, put it through.
That was on. That was against. They had 11 men at that stage as well, and it was on like the third tackle or something. So a crazy play which you would never normally see an experienced halfback do, because they'd be scared to get roasted afterwards. But that's the kind of confidence kind of player he is. Look, it's a bit of a good leeway into the first sort of talking point for this video. And I wanted to put this on last week. We had quite a few talking points, so I'll push it back to this week. And it's unfortunate some of the boys aren't here, but we'll push on with this one. It's sort of about, and I've mentioned a few weeks, they've spoken about it, coaches on NRL 360 and things like that, but the modern art of coaching and how to get the best out of a player in the modern day, which seems to be a pretty hard thing. And it's a very touchy subject, and it's very easy to get the barrier over one way and sort of unbalance the chip, so to speak. But we've seen old school coaches and new school coaches have different ways. Some players like to be hugged. Some people like to be berated and told, nah, you got to do this. You weren't doing that right. Get out there, and go out with fire basically coming out their nostrils. Dane, if you're a modern day coach, what would your way about going about this be?
Yeah, look, for me, and I think it's pretty simple. If you look at what Robinson's done with Sam Walker, let him come in. He's playing eyes up footy. He's bringing the long ball back. He's putting on a show. He's playing the way that he knows how to play. That's what naturally comes to him. As one example, you can't really tell players what to do. You can't go out there and play robotic. You can only influence players on what to do. And if you tell them what to do and they've got to go out and play a certain way and they can't play their own natural footy, they'll get frustrated. And I think that's all players across the board in all positions. So therefore, you've got to let them do some of the natural things that just come naturally to them. And that's probably the reason why they've been selected to play first grade in the first place. So yes, there's got to be some structure, but at the same time, I think you need to let them use their natural abilities, play a bit of eyes up footy when, that is working. If it's not working, okay, then you go back to the robotic stuff, and then, you try and sort of mix it up. But I don't think the hard ass approach, I mean, if you look at Wayne Bennett, he's a very calm sort of coach. You look at Craig Bellamy, he's a very aggressive kind of coach, but I think it's just more passion that comes out of him. He wants to make every minute of every game count. He wants to get the most out of every player in every game. So, I think the hard ass approach doesn't really work, but yeah, I think you just got to let players utilize their own natural skills and abilities. And I think that's how you get the best out of your players.
Would you be a yeller or a hugger in this day and age?
I don't know. I think I'm probably be a bit of both. I've been captain of a few teams in different sports in my time, and sometimes to get a reality check to a player or a teammate, you got to say what you got to say or do what you got to do. But at the end of the day, it's constructive criticism. But I'd like to be more of a hugger.
Yeah. Jace, you've obviously played the game quite a number of years at a fairly high level as well. We've all seen your old pics pop up on Facebook and things like that. But what would you like when you were a player? Would you like the hard-assed approach, or would you like a bit more of a hug and sort of say, all right, let's do it this way, and that necessarily wasn't the best way?
See, for me as a player, I came from a time where pretty much every coach was that hard love type coach. Like he gave you credit when credit was due, but if you messed up, he'd let you know about it and he'd tell you to fix it or sit down for the rest of the game. So nowadays you can't really do that. A lot of kids nowadays, if you raise your voice, they go into their shell and they don't respond quite well. And I think as a coach nowadays, it's more about getting to know your players and how they react to the way you hand out your criticism. I think as a coach, if you can master that, and then that's half the job done with getting your team to be successful on the paddock. Like with Ivan Cleary, I'm sure with his boys, he knows that they're young. He knows that they like to showboat a little bit, and by the looks of it, they're still going the way they're going. So I don't think he's told them to, call it. So he knows his players, and he knows how to get the best out of them. So yeah, for me, for a coach to be successful, I think he has to know his players individually, not as a team, just individually.
Yeah, it's sort of more on the individual side now as a coach. I think it's managing each player as it is. So we've sort of got, for mine, it's like I look at the Panthers and I think in terms of coaching style, they just play off the cuff. Every single player there, he's told to play off the cuff. Even Fisher Harris, who's a prop, offloads it, things like that. So they're always just playing it as they see. I looked at Manly at the start of the year, let's say Daly Cherry Evans, the first 5 to 6 weeks, he looked like he was trying to play really direct and sort of robotic in a way, perhaps because there was no Turbo. So he had a lot of the pressure to guide the team everywhere. And I think since Turbo's been back, it's sort of released DCE a bit, and he's playing a lot better, a lot more freer, and he's actually been able to play a bit more footy. I think that's the style of which the NRL is now going to. It's more that off-cuff sort of Sam Walker style. We're seeing it now with Reece Walsh at the Warriors. These smaller blokes who are a bit nippy. The game's really evolving to them. Does the old-fashioned yell work? I think it does still. I think it still has a part of the game is still there for it, but it's very limited when you can use it. You can only use it once or twice a year. I think the style of and this will lead us into the second point, someone like a Ricky Stewart, who's very, very intense, can potentially get pushed out of the game because of his approach. I think we're seeing this year the Raiders are pretty hot and cold, more on the cold side at the moment, and we're starting to see some rumours coming out, some players not happy. We've got obviously we've had Tarpanay's wife came out and spoke about the interchanging and the player. Obviously there's wherever there's smoke there is generally fire, and I think this is pretty much for me saying Tarpanay wants out of the club, not happy. Hodgson just gave up his captaincy, which I'm not too sure story behind that, but for mine, again, it looks like there's some issues going on there. And the first question about the Raiders is Ricky's time coming to an end? Dane, do you think his coaching run's coming up?
Look, to be honest, I think he's a bit of a dictator. I mean, you look, he's coached a few clubs now, and I'm pretty sure back in the day he coached the Roosters for, I don't know, I think he had a 2-year contract and was gone after one, something along the lines of that. Then you look at the players, and I think he puts a lot of pressure on the players. I mean, the coaches should really be there to sort of set the foundations, and then let the players do the building. I think he's too in your face. He's one of the few coaches that sits down on the sideline, and it's kind of like, you're a 17-year-old kid and you want to go and play on your bike with your mates, but there's dad sitting up there on the corner. That's probably how it feels like for some of the players. And, your expectations are, Whiten, you're up here, and, Papali, you're up here. And if you don't do that job and you don't do it at the standard that you're being paid, well, then you're going to know about it. And I just don't think that style is working for them at the moment. I think Ricky just needs to relax and just let the players go out and do what they know they can do. So, in answering your question, he might only have another couple of years left, if that.
Yeah, in terms of the league itself and footy, I keep hearing commentators and all these sort of rugby league shows and experts, so they call it, keep saying how it's a business now. I think it's the opposite. I think the game's actually gone back to the stage where it is a game and it's fun, and there's that element of people are playing like Benji Marshall and that still because he's enjoying it. He's having fun with this new style of play. Where I feel like at the Raiders at the moment, have still got that business mentality. Their players are still fairly robotic with what they're doing. And as you said, Dane, it's sort of like they're a bit scared about what they're doing and what they're going to do next, and they're not too sure. Like the Raiders at the moment, they've got like Starling. Starling's a good footy player. He's probably pushing down Hodgson's door because Hodgson's more of that robotic style. And Jace, when I mentioned it before, you sort of had a bit of a giggle about the Tarpanay situation. So what are you making of these rumours at the moment? And is it something that the Raiders can come back from, or are you already almost putting a line through their season?
I'm not putting a line through their season just yet. They're a good team. They've got some really good players, and they can play some good footy. We know they can play some good footy. Problem is it's just not coming together at the moment. The Tarpanay incident with his missus, I understand that she's obviously going to go to bat for her man, but she needs to realise that he's still part of the team and that he's got a job to do. Regardless, he shows up to work Monday morning with this stuff that's out now, then it's not going to make his life any easier at the club, and the club really don't have to release him if they don't want to be honest with you. So she needs to realise she's kind of put a foot in it a bit. But in terms of Ricky Stewart and his coaching job, mate, I don't know about you guys, but he just seems like he's just real erratic at the moment. Like the guy's about to have a mental breakdown or something. The last couple of weeks, it's just right before kickoff, he's been making random changes, pulling people in from the reserves, dropping people to the bench. I don't know what he's trying to do, whether he's in his mind, he's thinking that, these changes are going to, spark some life in the team. But I think it's just causing more chaos than anything. And like Dane said, he just needs to relax and let the players go out there and do what they do best. There's a reason why they're in the team and they're playing first grade. So just let them be.
Yeah, exactly right. And I agree with you. It's crazy. Like, look at Ryan James at the start of the year and everyone was raving about him, and now this week he's been dropped. So there's weird things happening. Papali or Papali'i is one of the form props of the competition over the last few years, and then all of a sudden he got dropped last week, and now he's back, and they're saying he's better than he's been all year after 1 week's rest. The best teams in the comp are the best teams because they're consistent and they've got consistent players. There's not many injuries, or they're healing injuries a lot better than the others. But the Raiders are all over the place. Me and Dane, we did the Raiders season preview. We both said that they were in the top. There was a group of 3 teams. We thought it's from the start of the year. Maybe 1 or 2 of those teams have swapped around, but we had them in a top 3. Dane, do you still have them as one of the top 3, or they've fallen down a bit for you?
Yeah, no, look, I think they've fallen down a little bit, and it's Ricky's fault, to be honest. And I mean, look, having your captain stand down and relinquish the captaincy that's saying something. There's something going on there behind closed doors. There's heads are butting. There's things that just aren't ticking. And yeah, it's really disappointing because I like watching the Raiders play. Like, they're just an exciting team. I'm pretty sure I had them in my top 2. I had them in the grand final. Yeah. Them Panthers, I think. But yeah, it's disappointing. I feel for them and all the supporters as well.
Yeah, 100%. And the last little bit on this, it's funny because I heard today about the Hodgson thing. It was because he's stating, or the club's stating, injury wise, but the other captain in Croker has been out just as long, if not longer. So I don't really get that whole injury way of going down that track. But we'll move on from the Raiders. They look like I think at the moment we've just made it a worse situation than it started. So we'll leave it. We'll walk away. We'll talk about another team. For mine, the Titans. I just can't get a read on this side. For mine, they're up 22-0 on the weekend against a side that's been so poor over the last almost 2 years. I was sitting at home going, honestly, this could get to about 60, and I was about ready to tick off all my anytime try scorer multis because I thought every Titan's going to have a field day, so I was about to cash in. And just next minute, Broncos, Asako are looking like they're the Melbourne Storm of the competition. For mine, they're flat track bullies. They'll go well against sides. Their defense is deplorable. Their defense is shocking. Look, we all have a goes about the Dogs and things like that, but at least they sort of have a bit of a go. The Titans dead set looked like they didn't care on the weekend. All they wanted to do was have their hands on the footy and attack. Dane, did you watch much of this game, and what do you make of the Titans at the moment? Are they a top 8 side with how they're playing?
I think they're a little bit too hot and cold. I mean, I'm pretty sure I had them in the top 8. I only watched bits of the game. But yeah, they're just a team. You don't know whether you should tip them, whether you shouldn't. The amount of times in, the tipping comps that I'm in where I've tipped them and then changed and then gone back to them. And they're always one of the ones that I'm going to say I'm on a perfect round every week. But as soon as they lose or, they upset the team that I go against because I just don't know which way I should have went, they're just really, really unpredictable. And yeah, I think their defense needs a fair bit of work. And I think they go out with a mentality of, let's just defend and you've only got to score a couple of tries and you win, or, they just attack and then just forget about defending. So they're just so hot and cold. And I just hope they can find some sort of formality in what they're doing and get into the top 8 and at least give it a good red hot go this year.
Yeah, they're sort of a building team this year. I do get that. It's just when you can still be a building team and show a bit of pride in your performance. For mine, there just wasn't any of that on the weekend. It just it was like they were under 8s. Jace, what did you make of the Titans? Is there anything we're not picking up on that you've seen?
Mate, I think there's, like Dane said, that they're very hot and cold at the moment. All they want to do is attack, but when it comes to defense, there's no sting in their defense. Like even their props, their front rowers, their any of their forwards, there's no real sting in the defense. There's no dominant tackles. I don't know whether at training they don't work on their defense. They don't do any, defensive work, rock work, anything like that. But to me, it looks like there's probably 3 people out there in that team that look like they actually want to try and win the game or do something. They're playing with their heart on their sleeve, and that's Fifita, Peachy, and Brimson. Yeah. The others sort of look like they're just showing up for a paycheck.
Yeah, and the thing is, Broncos actually, as bad as it's been, actually have shown the rest of the competition the way to beat the Titans pretty easily, and that's run it Fifita early, tire him out, and then he doesn't run for the base. I think he only had 8 runs or something all game over the weekend, and everyone thought that would have been against his old club. He'd be fit and firing, but at the start of the game, they kept going down his side. He made, I think, 20, 30 tackles within the first 30 minutes or something, and he was out on his feet. He could hardly bloody walk at some points of that game. So it's an interesting one. I was like Dane. I had him in the top 8. They've really got to change their defence though. For mine, they've really got to come out this week and really stop the tries. Look, they need to win it. They need to have a game where they win it 10 points to 4 or something, and have one of those low scoring games before I sort of get back into the top 8 certainties. At the moment, they're in the top 8, but they've lost more games than they've won. So, look, there was one more talking point I wanted to bring up, but we're getting a bit low on time. I want to get through to the tips, so I'll push that one back to next week. It's about Dane's beloved Roosters, but we'll get to that next week. Let's get some tips done. So, obviously, tomorrow, Thursday night clash, South and the Storm. This one's at ANZ Stadium. Dane.
Oh, I'm going to say, I haven't looked at the team lineup, but I'm going to say South.
I'm going to do a Sid from last week, are you? Say something like, what was it? Pappy's out or Pappy's in, but then Pappy was out. So, Jace, you going South or you going the Pappy-led Storm?
Mate, I think I'm gonna go Storm for this one. I don't know. I feel like they can get this one up.
Yeah, just a heads up, Dane. South lost a couple of players, so Reynolds isn't playing. Murray's not playing. Campbell Graham's out, so I'm going to go the Storm just because I think losing Reynolds' kicking game is a huge part of South Sydney's game. When they lose that accurate kicking game, they're going to lose a fair bit. So, Penrith v Sharks, first Friday game. Does the Penrith train just keep rolling on, Jace?
Yeah, Penrith easy by a lot to a little.
I think this is a danger game for Sharks. They've sort of been off since the coaching changed. I think they could get done by 30 or 40 here, Dane.
Yeah, I reckon Panthers pretty easily. I reckon they'll get the Dolphins.
All right, the first League of Inches Cup. I'll go to Dane first. Is he tipping with his head or his heart? Para versus Roosters.
Oh, I'm so torn. I'm going to say Roosters by 1.
Oh, is it a Sam Walker field goal?
Oh, yeah, I reckon he probably will kick one after he throws about 4 long balls for tries.
Oh, Jace, who are you tipping? You're the in-betweener here, so.
Mate, I honestly think that it's going to be a Roosters win, and I think this is going to be the best game we've seen from Walker. This is going to be his real breakout game, this one, against the top side, powerhouse team as well, and I think he's going to come out and lead the team.
Do you reckon he'll be better than last week? Because I'll tell you what, last week he was ridiculous.
Better.
Oh,
better.
I hope not. I'm going to tip Para at Bankwest. I think the Bankwest factor gets us home just. I'm going to say by 2. I reckon it'll be close as well. Look, I'm calling this the desperate cup of the weekend. Raiders versus the Knights. Both teams are just desperate. They would do some silly things for a win at the moment. I'm declaring that right now. Jace, who are you going for? This is at Wagga Wagga, by the way, so no home ground advantage.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Raiders. I'm keeping some faith. I'm going to go with Raiders.
Yeah, Dane, do they get back? Who gets them back in the winner's circle?
Oh, look, I'm going to say the Raiders because I'm hoping that Ricky Stewart is on some forced annual leave for a couple of days.
Oh, Ricky, I know you watch us. Just shout out and give Dane a bit of a message or contact him. He'll take your call. I'll go Raiders.
And just relax, mate. Relax.
Yeah, just take a couple of pills. Maybe have a good snooze. Tigers versus Titans. This one's at Campbelltown. I think they're doing a Radoniga special that day, so it's a bit of emotion around the ground. Dane, who you got for this one?
Based on last week, I mean, I really don't rate the Tigers, but I don't know. I just think they'll bounce back and back it up again this week, and I think they'll just get home. Tigers.
Yeah, I took so long tipping this one today. I stared at the screen for, I reckon, 3 or 4 minutes. I think I've tipped the Titans purely off the fact, I can't remember actually, but I think I've gone Tigers because a bit of emotion. They didn't do it last time for Radoniga. Surely they do it this week for him. Jace, who are you going?
I'm going to go with Tigers as well, mate, at home at Campbelltown Stadium. I think they'll show up, especially after last week. They'll gain a bit of confidence from that.
Yeah, they've got it. To be honest, they weren't great against the Dragons. The Dragons were pretty horrible as well. So not much form to go off. The Queensland Derby's up next. Cowboys versus Broncos up at Townsville. Jace, I'll go back to you for this one. It's a hard one.
Mate, Broncos.
Yeah, Dane.
I'm gonna say Broncos.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cowboys. Probably won't be watching the game. Not really worth it at this point in time. But yeah, I'll probably tip Cowboys.
Oh, we do our research here at League of Inches. Don't worry, guys. It's I'm the same. I'm tipping the Cowboys purely off the fact that I know Broncos have been so poor lately, and I just don't think they're good enough yet to pull 2 wins together. So, Manly versus Warriors back at Brookie. Dane.
I reckon Manly will be too strong in this one. They love playing at Brookie.
Yeah, I think Turbo back at Brookie. He'll do something special on the day by probably a couple of tries. Jace?
I'm going to go with Warriors. I'm tipping with my heart on that one. I'm just going to say Warriors.
Yeah, all right, Bunty Afoa. Thanks for that. Now, the last game of the round is the League of Inches Cup number 2. So Dragons versus Dogs, and lucky we don't sit to ramble on about this. We can be quick because we've got about a minute left in this video. Obviously, Jace, you're going Dogs.
Dogs in a close one.
Hope you're going to go to the game, by the way. Go get down there and take Sid. Give us some videos. Dane?
Yeah, I'm going to go Dogs in a close one, and I do have I've got another tip in as well. I heard that reason Josh isn't here is he's moving from the moon to Jupiter. So yeah, fresh little hot tip in. So.
Oh, well, good luck, Josh. He's cancelled this video because he's on a date, by the way, so go and give him some crap. But yeah, I'll go the
Happy
Dragons.
birthday as well, Josh.
Yeah, happy birthday as well. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm tipping the Dragons in a close one, but League of Inches Cup, we've got some pretty sad guys next week, I believe, but we'll be back. Thanks for tuning in. See you all next week.